Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. On tonight's episode, we chat with Microsoft engineer Charmaine Christie-Primo on what it's like to be not only an engineer, but a mother and a comedian. Stay tuned for more after this. All right. Well, family, it feels like forever that I've been able to see everyone's beautiful faces. Took a short break, getting over the holidays and everything, but we're back and better than ever. Again, this is the STEM Files, where we highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I am your humble co-host, Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabrilliant Engineer. I am a mechanical engineer, a civilian mechanical engineer focusing on naval ship fluid systems with a background in material science and engineering, which is basically just a study of how the material properties affect or the structures affect different material properties. And I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, Tariq Cardiac. What's going on?
What's going on, family? Once again, welcome back to the STEM Files. Like Jabril said, we are the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. My name is Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I'm a biomedical research scientist with a concentration in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I'm excited for tonight's show.
Yes, sir. Before we go any further, just want to make sure again, generally we are live every Thursday and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, right? We're on Facebook at the STEM Files. Make sure to subscribe at the STEM Files on YouTube and follow us on Instagram at the STEM Files as well. Like I always say, family, the show's not about us. It's about who we bring on, right? You know, you can hear us talk, but, you know, the value is really in the guest member and what they've gone through in their respective journeys in STEM and what they've been able to do with that. So without further ado, I want to introduce to some and maybe reintroduce to others, Miss Charmaine. How are you tonight?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Great. Happy to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and read just a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to let you take over from that. Sound good?
All right, let's get it.
All right, Jabril, go for it.
Yes, sir. All right, so Charmaine Christie-Primo, the mother, engineer, stand-up comedian, and co-host of the talk show. Now you're going to have to help me with this.
The N is silent. Yeah. Diapemediaspora. Diapemediaspora. Go ahead.
He was born and raised in Montreal, Canada, and moved to Dallas, Texas in 2012 after accepting an engineering job at Microsoft. Her parents are Guyanese, and she loves to show off her Caribbean pride any chance she gets. Charmaine is her most authentic self when telling jokes on stage because she is able to showcase her multifaceted personality. And with that, family, let's get right into the questions. Make sure to drop questions in the comment section so we can further move this dialogue along. So Tariq, you want to start off?
Yeah, I definitely want to start off. So, you know, I like seeing engineers, you know, in some form of, scientists in general, in some form of entertainment. So let's talk about let's do this. Which came first? Was it stand-up comedy or was it engineering? And how did you merge the two?
Well, I guess engineering came first, like I guess the official title, right? Because I started doing stand-up like 5 years ago, but I graduated in 2012. So I would say, but even that, so like, okay, so I know I work at Microsoft, but my degree is in civil engineering, okay? So that's what my degree is. And I studied, and I thought I was going to, I guess, build bridges and tunnels. My capstone project, we did we built a bridge, and I really thought I was going to go in that direction. But at the career fair, at the engineering career fair at my school, like my senior year, like first semester, I got I spoke to a Microsoft recruiter, not because I wanted to, but because we locked eyes, and then I was just like, he's like, hey, you. I'm like, me? He's like, come here. And I was like across. I was like, no. He's like, come. I was like, no. And then he's just like, why not? And they're like, all right, fine. Then I was like arguing with him. I'm like, what am I gonna do at Microsoft? I'm civil engineering major. And like and he was just like, we take all types of majors. I was like, really? Like, and he was like, yeah. And he was like, we were going back and forth. Cause I was like, you're not gonna hire me. Like, why are you talking to me? And then as I'm speaking to him, so like I guess I know I'm telling the whole story, but basically that summer I had an internship at Bechtel. You know, Bechtel, it's a construction engineering company, right? So I was like, I'm gonna work here. Like I was killing the internship. They loved me. I was the only intern that got to stay on. Like I stayed on my senior year at school. They're like, yeah, you want to work part-time here? I was like, yes. I'm like, I'm gonna work here. Right. But I was doing document control. So I was like scanning like the documents that the engineers like, you know, had to put into the machine. And then I also was like having to print out their blueprints in case they got audited, right? So it just so happened when I'm talking to the recruiter, he was, and the interns, they try to play me. I just have to put this out there, like, haha. They try to play me. They were like, oh, I thought you were a civil engineer major. Why they got you photocopying things, right? And I was like,
photocopying,
right? They called me the manager of the photocopy machine. Okay. Like I was like, okay, right? Because they're like, we're doing this and blah blah blah, and I was like, okay. So whatever. So now fast forward, right? So now I'm at the career fair and the guy's talking to me. He's like, oh, you know, you can do jobs where like you don't have to code and all that stuff. You can like, let's say there's a product feature, you can like help us be the advocate for the customer and like tell us how to design it. Then he's like, let's just say, for instance, the print button. You would say it will go here and you would do that and do that. And I was like, the print button? Oh, you don't know my expertise? I'm the manager of the photocopy machine. I'm talking about A0, A1, legal, 8.5 by 11, name your poison. Got it. Right. I was like, let me tell you about the print button, sir. And I was going in, I'm like, when an engineer gets audited and they have different levels or pictures, like sizes of documents, and you have to open up every document and check what size it is and choose the printer, there should be an option where you can right click, give that option. That 2 seconds that of time that it takes is fine, but when you're multiplying that by thousands of documents, you it's not efficient. And he was like, so all that to say that I feel like I impressed him with that knowledge. So I had not gone through that, and then I ended up like interviewing, and I got the job, which it wasn't even on that wasn't my job, but that's the way I got in. So it's just like a crazy journey.
Wow, that's interesting, you know, because people tend to apply for jobs or the companies that do what they went to school for, you know, if they're engineers or scientists. So talk about, you know, even though you weren't expecting it, talk about how important it is for a scientist or engineer who went to school to apply for any company that they can apply to, regardless of what they're known to do in that particular area.
That's a great question, and I was a NSBE. Were any of you guys a NSBE in college?
Oh, okay. He's the engineer. I'm not.
Oh, you're the science.
Yeah.
He was an affiliate member, right? He was an affiliate. It's okay. What region were you in?
Just watch it.
I was region 2.
Okay, all right. I was region 1. One fire, more fire.
Here in college, we had small chapter of the year in college, ain't chapter of the year. Come on, don't play me.
Okay. All right. Wait. No, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all's chat was kind of hype. Like we used to like it, like too hype, right? So I'm not gonna lie. I was like, all right, y'all chat could, you know, it could get it. Like, no. So I was in NSBE. Like I said, I was in NSBE in college, and I remember. I don't even remember what conference it was, but like I remember hearing something. And this is like before, like probably like, you know, like before I graduated, but it resonated with me, and I'm like, it's so true. It's saying like, listen, just because you're getting a degree in engineering doesn't mean you're going to work in this field. The skills that you're getting, STEM period, like, you know what I mean? No matter, like, I feel like any of the, like, if you go to school and do any STEM major, I feel like the skills that you're getting, especially engineering though, is just like, it's the thought process. It's like, it's the troubleshooting. It's critical thinking, the skills that you're obtaining with becoming a critical thinker, you can apply them in any area in your life. That's why people with engineering degrees are highly sought after from different companies, because I'm a critical thinker. Me and my friend, we have this like joke where we're always like hashtag troubleshooting skills, right? Whenever we solve any type of problem, like, doesn't matter what it is, but it's like, that's what we were learned to do, to think critically and solve problems. So I feel like no matter what job I, could have applied for, like, those same skills are there. And even when I got recruited at Microsoft and I was at my interview, like, it's kind of a hard process. Like, there's like 4 interviews, 45 minutes each, all like, you get 15-minute breaks. It's like 4 hours. It was like back to back to back. And then like, they were like, we're looking for 4 skills: troubleshooting skills, interpersonal skills, what was it? Okay, troubleshooting skills, interpersonal skills, technical skills, and like problem solving skills, something like that. So all that to say is that they're like, the one that's the hardest to teach or the easiest to teach is a technical skill. So I didn't have that, but I had the other things. So they're like, those things were clearly evident in your interviews that you have those skills. So we'll teach you technical stuff and we're going to still hire you.
I love how you brought that up. So I was having a great conversation. I was at the job yesterday with another coworker, and we were talking about the importance of being able to communicate. And I think this ties a lot into you being a comedian as well as an engineer. My supervisor, and even with anything I do as it pertains to engineering, a lot of times we are seen as people who stereotypically do not communicate well verbally. It may be monotone when we're talking. We may talk over people or just not connect. But you mentioned how, as an engineer, you're able to think, you're taught to think critically. This is why engineers or people in STEM fields are asked for in law, in medicine, right? In other spheres as well, because of how we're taught to think. Can you speak to the concept of those harder skills being more systematic? Like, you can teach those harder skills, but those softer skills being something that you kind of develop through experience. Can you kind of speak to that?
Right. So I just feel like for me, like I'm a communicator. So sometimes I stutter because I talk a little quickly, but communication has always been like easy to me. Like, for me to take my thoughts and say them out loud or write them down. And I feel like that's been one of my biggest like things that have been the greatest value to me, because sometimes I have like imposter syndrome, right, where I feel like I don't belong, right? And especially, remember, like, I was a civil engineering major and I literally work at like one of the biggest IT software companies in the world. It's recognizable everywhere, and sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't belong here. I'm like, are they gonna remember that? Like, are they gonna I've been there for 8 years, like, I'm like, are they gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, psych, like, you don't work here anymore, you don't fit in, right? Sometimes I thought that's what it feels like, but it's like, okay, no, I am here for a reason. And sometimes I feel like I'm not the typical engineer. I've been told that, like, I guess it's like backhanded compliments. Like, I remember, like, I used to go on site for customers, right? Like, before COVID and stuff like that. And every time I go on site, they'd be like, oh, are you the account manager? And I was like, no, I'm the engineer. And they're like, oh, okay, let's see how this is, right? And it's like, and I know, and I kind of like, honestly, I kind of get it. Like, I'm a girl, I'm Black, and I'm young. So a lot of these people, I'm going outside to help them fix their issues. And they're like, how long have you been doing this? And at the time, like 3 years. And they're like, okay, I've been in IT for 25 years. I was just like, my age, like, you know what I mean? So I understand where like the uncertainty comes in, but then I would go and I would kill it, right? And at the end of the week, they would be like, wow, you were so great. And they'd be like, not gonna lie, you're the most normal engineer that ever came on site. And I was like, that was a quote from a customer. Normal. Like, I was like, it's like, most of the engineers, they're really smart, but they don't know how to tell me what they're going through. So what I'm trying to say is that's where my skill comes in. So I'm maybe not be the smartest or the most technical in certain aspects, but I'm able to communicate effectively. So they will use me in that sense. Like, and also, like, I'm a people person. And a lot of times, like, my manager used to, like, when I first started, I was like nervous, like, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And but my manager's like, Charmaine, for some reason, even when you don't solve the customer's issues, you get like great reviews. They're like, Charmaine didn't actually solve it, right? But she helped and she made us feel good. And then like I finally got it like resolved somehow. So it's like I realized that those skills that I do have are really important, and it's actually been beneficial to drive my career thus far.
You said, go ahead, bro.
My last thing, bro, and I'm turning it right back over to you. But
I just hope it's not my question. I'm hoping that it's not my question. But go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
But quick thing. So you mentioned something that I'm going through as well. You know, being in a government position at work, right? You know, I'm 27 years old. I've been there about 4 years, right? So a lot of things that I do, I go on the waterfront and I interface as an engineer or subject matter expert with technicians that are lifers, like 30 plus year valve technicians, you know, people who work on certain systems. I'm out briefing, in briefing. They be like, how old are you? I said, I'm like 25, 26 or whatever. Right. And then, I dance, right? I like comics, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm into hip hop, so I might show up on the plane with like a hoodie, some J's or whatever, versus like the senior level person that looks traditional, right? So they be like, are you like I said, you're not like a regular engineer. I said, how many engineers do you know? I said, engineering is a mindset, not necessarily what you see. It's how you apply and look at problems to be able to go from point A to point B. So I just wanted to echo that and thank you for that, and turn it back over to Tariq.
No problem. I appreciate
it. Awesome. Yeah, so you mentioned earlier, 3 of the most dangerous words in a very hostile world: Black, female, engineer. Yeah. So talk about, you know, being that in a world such as this, and why it's important for you to inspire the next generation of Black female engineers to come behind you.
Honestly, I just feel like sometimes I get frustrated, but I realize that I've been having the same argument in different aspects of my life, my whole entire life. And I feel like God has let me have this because it's something I needed. And I'm telling you this because, so I'm from Canada. Okay. So I'm a Black Canadian. So there's not that many Black people in Canada, you know what I mean? So when I was in high school, I ended up going to a private all-girls school, and I was one of 4 Black girls in my grade. And of the 4 Black girls, I was the only one that was in advanced math. I was in like advanced math. I guess you guys would call it like AP classes here, science, physics, and all that stuff. So that means I was the only Black girl in my class once I got to like 11th grade. So by that time, like I feel like I was always myself beforehand, and I'm from the hood, right? So you know, Canada got hoods too. So I'm from the hood, right? I feel like I'm like the Fresh Prince of Little Burgundy. That's my hood name. Shout out to Little Burgundy.
Little Burgundy.
Fresh Princess of Little Burgundy, right? So all that to say is I go there and I'm just like, they're so surprised by me because they're like, aren't you from Little Burgundy? Aren't you scared? And then I would do better than them in school, and they would be like, oh my God, how are you doing better than me in math? And I'm like, I don't know, because I'm good at math. Like, get the fuck, like, sorry, get out of my face. Right? So what I'm trying to say is I've been here. Like I've been here. That's when I was 12. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So I've been in this area where I'm the Black girl and I'm surprising people, and I don't look the part. You know, I was also in ROTC, like Army cadets, right? So like when people look at me and the things that I do, like I perpetuate and demystify stereotypes all in the same person. Like
wow.
Right? And like, you know what I mean? But I'm okay with it because I'm so me. You get what I'm trying to say? And I feel like it's because I've gone through this so many times. So that was me in high school. So then I got to college, and you know, there's not that many girls in engineering, and then again, not many Black girls. But it's like, oh, I was one of 4 in high school, so I'm okay with being one of like, I'm trying to think, in civil engineering, I probably was the only one in my whole grade, but I had some other engineer, like mechanical engineering friends, and we had NESB and everything. So I had my, you know, my safe place or whatever. So it's like, now that I'm in corporate America, I've been here before. I'm so accustomed to this. So I literally had to like figure out like being comfortable in these situations and these places. And I feel like I'm 33 now, and I feel like I'm still working on it, but I'm a lot more confident, and I feel like, especially since I've been here working at this job for 8 years now, I feel like, no, I know what I'm doing enough, like, to be confident. And you looking at me and being surprised, that's not my problem, that's your problem. And I hope that I live in a world that eventually, when someone hears that, like, oh, you're an engineer and I'm a Black girl, that it's not surprising, because that's what I think that's what I'm so accustomed to. It's like, you do what? And then the same thing happens even with comedy. There's not that many Black women doing comedy too. So it's like, I literally have been the same person in so many scenarios that I'm just comfortable being myself. And I'm working on like this new, like, my philosophy. I was taking this course and I was working on like my personal philosophy, and I think I kind of got it. It might change, but it's something along the lines of, I kind of seen the meme and all these things that like put together, but I want to be so comfortable being myself that I can allow others to be themselves too. Like, it's okay to be all of these things, multifaceted, right? Or not monolithic, So.
Right. That's a great point. Similarly, I've lived a life thriving as a special case, if you will. And I'm not saying I'm special. I didn't want to say, I don't like to use the term minority because I don't consider myself a minority. I say all that to say, homeschool for almost a decade, that in Philadelphia, at least, that was like a white dominated thing.
Right.
In terms of groups and everything to be in, then going to a magnet high school, then going to an Ivy League institution as an engineer. Mm-hmm. So now I'm not only a Black male, but I'm not a foreign born Black male from Philly or whatever, right? And then going on to be an engineer. I'm going to make a statement, and I want you to tell me if you agree or disagree and why. I am Black first and engineer second.
100% agree. I was born Black, and I'm dark-skinned Black. I'm always going to be Black. The thing about being an engineer, I have to tell you that I'm an engineer. And a lot of times people don't believe me. I've been asked by Black people too. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an engineer. And they're like, oh, where do you work? I'm like, I work at Microsoft. They're like, oh, can I see your badge? I've been asked that. I was just like, why? Because I want to make sure. So you think I'm gonna lie about that? Really? Someone asked me that. Can you show me your badge? Who are you? It's not the building. You're not the security guard.
Right.
Right. So I've been Black my whole life. Even before I knew I wanted to be an engineer, I've been Black. So at the end of the day, I'm always going to be Black first.
And I asked that before I turn it back over to Tariq, because I've heard, different athletes, professionals, people in the media that are successful in Black talk about, I want to be recognized as just a tennis player, or a tennis player first, or this first, or this, that. And I'm like, I always felt that there was this subset of society that felt like it was greater to be that which you have worked to be than to be your own authentic Black self, or whatever you were born as. So, I always chide people against kind of putting a profession before that which provides you intrinsic value. Because before you were an engineer, so you were blessed to be of an original people, or whatever you were blessed to be. You were blessed to come into this earth. You are one of few, or that sperm that was able to get itself through.
I've been fast.
So there's intrinsic value in you from the moment you're born. So whatever these titles and labels that we have, they only augment or serve to, further. I need the word further. Just make better, or compliment, if you will, compliment what you already are.
Exactly.
Yes. So my next question, actually. So you had mentioned that we had got your title a little bit wrong on social media. Can you speak to exactly what your current work or job title is, and perhaps a challenge that you had to overcome as an engineer?
But wait, don't make us look too wrong though. So try to keep it along the lines of a software engineer.
Right. Well, I work at a software company, so let's start there. Right. So my current role, I if you look in right now, it's called a customer engineer. So they changed my title. I used to be called a premier field engineer. So I used to go in this field and either deliver workshops or help implement SharePoint. That's what I was doing for the past 5 years. But this year I'm on a special assignment, a special project for like 12 months. And I'm a modern work architect. So what I'm doing is I'm helping some of our larger customers, big name customers, Fortune 500, implement their Office 365 environment. So the cloud. I'm working on all the, modern workplace. Everyone's home now. So a lot of, people are working from home, and, we're just basically helping these companies deploy our product in order to be the most secure and get the best out of the Office 365 products that we have in the cloud. So productivity. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Nice. Do you ever find, and going into the comedy, do you ever find, so I'm one who, I'm always that person who breaks the ice, whether it was in college with those new groups and everything. And I found that humor really helps to set people at ease. So in that you're in a customer service environment, in that you're in a problem solving environment, how have, if at all, you used humor to assist you in your technical endeavors?
So I feel like sometimes I'm a little bit silly, but obviously I have to be serious sometimes. But I just feel like my personality, I'm kind of a bubbly person. I'm very passionate. I speak with my hands, as you can see. So when I come, I'm always just like, hi, I'm Charmaine. And I just try to like make everyone feel at ease. And maybe not, I'm not trying to make people necessarily laugh, but I just like to make people smile at work. Like, you know what I mean? That's my goal. Like, I'm going to just make you smile. I'm going to make you remember me. And I'm going to make you remember. I want you to remember me, that I made you feel good and at ease. So I don't know if I'm like actively like trying to find a joke, which I don't think I do that at work, but I feel like it just naturally comes out of my personality. And I normally don't tell my customers or that I do comedy. But then sometimes they find out, and then it's like, they're like, I see it. That's why you're so funny in meetings, right? So the other day, so it was so funny. So I had like one of my my internal account people. I had a meeting with him to like discuss his customer, and I get on the call with him, and I was like, hey, what's up? And he was just like, Charmaine, the comedian, and I was just like, what? I was so like caught off guard. He's just like, your name's kind of unique. Like, I just looked you up, and I found one of your YouTube videos. Like, you're really funny though. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so awkward. This is so awkward. I just felt so awkward because I was just like, sometimes my jokes are a little inappropriate for work. Okay. And then, but he was like so chill with it. And he was like, I love it. And then like, he made me feel at ease that he was not like, it didn't take him aback, And then when we joined the customer call, he's like, tell them what you do. I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah, tell them. And then I was like telling them, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. And they're like, wait, are we going to show up in your material? I was like, oh, you might. And then after they're like, so like, and it was so like, I feel like it just eased the conversation. And then after everyone's like, okay, I got to be on my P's and Q's with you, because now I'm afraid I'm going to end up as one of your jokes. I'm like, you know it. So it was just like so chill and so cool. And like, everyone was fine with it. And yeah, I do have jokes about the scenarios I go on at work. Obviously, I don't name names, but Do
you mind if we play a little clip of some of your standard routine?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
All right. So I think it's about 50 seconds. Go for it.
I'm a software engineer, believe it or not. Woo! Black girl that made it! I'm surrounded by men, like, they give me so much confidence, like, I don't have to do the work, they'll do it for me. Like, on a regular hot scale, I'm like a 5 or 6. On the IT hot scale, I'm a 506. I have this one friend, though, like, she's really ugly, and she's, like, really conceited. You know that type? Like, an ugly girl with pretty girl confidence? Like, on a regular hot scale, she's a 2.
So
you cut it off.
Now, I had to cut off at a certain point. But for those who want to catch the full clip from that video, well, it's not full clip, it's about 6 minutes longer than that. Definitely visit the link in the description. But let's talk about that stand-up journey. So what's it like being on stage compared to, because I know it's totally different from what you do as an engineer, but what is it like, being in that environment, telling jokes in front of large groups of people? And how have you been able to use that to kind of make engineering cool or talk about your job as if it was cool, which it is?
Right. Okay, so like I love stand-up. I don't think you understand. Like I've loved comedy like ever since I can remember. And I think I'm just a natural storyteller. So if I go back to like elementary school, like my friends could tell you that grew up with me, and even probably my friends from high school and college as well. Like I would always be the person to like recreate something that happened, like to tell them, right? Like someone got in a fight at school. I was like, oh, you missed it. You weren't at school yesterday. Oh, let me tell you what happened. And I used to like imitate the people. I would be like, and you know how she walks like this. So she came up and she was doing that. And then other girls in her face like blah, blah, blah. And they started fighting. So I used to always like tell them stuff like what happened. Or I would tell stories about my mom. My mother's Caribbean, right? She's Guyanese. And, you know, I'd be like, my mom was like, Charmaine, you must wash the dishes or whatever kind of things that happened, right? So I feel like I've always been able to like articulate and tell these stories of what happened and make people laugh, to a point where my friends used to ask for stories by name, like tell us the time you called the police on your mom.
Right.
And they didn't help you. Right.
They didn't help you.
Right. Right. So I used to have these funny stories. So I feel like I was always doing it without knowing. And then when I was in like around, I guess, grade 8 or so, I was like 14, I was in ROTC, like I mentioned, so Army Cadets. And after Army Cadets, we used to like be at McDonald's, and we used to just cut up, like talking smack, telling jokes. And this one night I was on a roll. I used to just think I'm on a roll. So I was just joke after joke after joke. They were landing. I had everyone in McDonald's cracking up. It was like 15 of us. I'm cracking up. After an hour, all I hear behind me is Cadet Christie. And I turned around to one of my officers and I'm like, oh my God. Because I was kind of, I was like being a little inappropriate. And I was like, hello, sir. He's just like, I've been behind you for a whole hour listening to you tell these jokes. And I was like, I'm so sorry, sir. I did not know you were there. Had I known you were there, I would not have been talking like that. I'm so sorry. He's like, let me tell you something. You're hilarious. I was like, what? And I was like, for real? He's like, when you turn 18, I want to bring you to amateur night at the comedy club because you need to be on stage.
Wow, wow.
That was me at 14. And I feel like he planted a seed in my head where I was like, what? I could go on a stage and do this? You sure? And
right.
It's funny. It took me a long time after that. Like I said, I only started doing it 5 years ago to do it. But he actually, when I was back home in Montreal, he like surprised me at one of my shows and he came. So that was like, I was like, oh my goodness, do you remember when you told me that? And he was like, yeah. And I told you that I get 10%. He did it. But I love that story because I feel like he saw something in me before I saw it. You know what I mean? And like I said, so I just been doing it for 5 years and I love it. And the reason why I love it is I get to literally be myself. So at work, I have to be serious at times. I have to do this, but on stage, I have the command of the mic. It's just me versus, the crowd in a sense, but it's like I have everyone's attention and I get to show like I'm this hood chick. My parents are from Guyana. I'm an engineer now. I'm a mother now. I got a whole new aspect of jokes to tell now. So thankful for my son. But it's just like I love that I can literally get to be all of me at the same time. And every joke that I make might not resonate with you, but because I'm so multifaceted and there's so much to my personality or my life, there's gonna be one thing that will probably resonate with the audience members, and they come and tell me that after. That makes me feel good.
Bro,
so like Tariq, vibe with me for real. Like literally, it's so funny hearing you talk. I low key feel like this is how I feel like I talk to people. Like
yeah.
We have meetings and stuff, or if I'm explaining something to him, the way you just told that story is exactly how I talk to him. Like
a waterfall, just going like
going in different voices and everything. So it's
right, all over the place.
Kind of scary. I'm not saying I'm as funny as you, but your mannerisms, like you talk with your hands, I talk with my hands. You smile every fourth word. Like, it's hilarious. I'm sitting here in tears.
We twins.
Oh,
what up, cuz? What up, cuz? That's my cousin. You didn't know that?
And you did come at Regent too, though. So like, we didn't be friends yet. You did come
All
at
right,
Regent
all
too.
right.
You did.
All
You
right,
did.
we
So-
acquaintances. But I gotta rep. You see how you rep for yours? I gotta rep for mine too. So like, you can't even be mad at it, right? Like,
okay. So, but in all seriousness, though, I wanted to talk about you being a mother, and I brought that up because Tariq and I, we would be remiss if we didn't mention our mothers and not being our parents in general, obviously, but our mothers.
right.
My mother was my primary homeschooler. The same for Tariq, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
How important is it in terms of motherhood and at that very early stage, or those very early stages of life, being able to impart in your children their worth and also start to see and notice their different interests and talents to be able to align them with those things going forward? Can you kind of speak to that?
Oh my God. I love that you mentioned that because, okay, one thing is I love my mother. I feel like my mother is the reason why I'm successful today. Like my mother, she raised me as a single parent. And my mom allowed me to be me. Certain, like there was, I feel like, she's Caribbean. So there was a little bit like, she was kind of like told me that I got to go to school. Like that was my number one priority. And, there's some differences like in the way we grew up, but I know that she tried her best with me and she imparted so much knowledge and wisdom to me. And she allowed me to be myself to a certain extent. Right. Right. And now that I'm older, I'm taking it all back. I said, Mom, no, I'm allowed to be loud. That was one thing that's the one thing that she hated. She's called me boisterous and loud. I remember in grade 4, she like, you're too boisterous, now loud and obnoxious. And I was like, or grade 3, and I was like, I don't even know what those words mean. Like, and she was like, look it up in the dictionary. And like, I was just like, I remember obnoxious. First of all, she has an accent, right? So she's like, you're too obnoxious. I was like, obnoxious. I was like, what does that mean? Look it up in the dictionary.
Your facial expressions are killing me right now when you do that.
Right? I'm like, we didn't have the internet back then, right? So I look it up in a real dictionary. So I'm like, I don't know how to spell it. She's like, she didn't care. Like, look it up. I'm like, I don't know how to spell it. Like, you know what I mean? Like now y'all young kids, y'all could just be like, say it in the phone, right? Siri, what is obnoxious? I was like, okay. So I'm all like, okay, obnoxious, right? UP, because she has an accent, and she got mad at me. Charmaine said obnoxious, up. I'm like, yeah, up, UP. I said I'm like, it sounds like UP. Right?
You good?
This is 100% a true story. Just so you know, this is so true.
God.
This is a true story. And then eventually, I'm like, OB. I'm like, that's not what it sounds like to me, mommy. Like, so I've been allowed to be myself for the most part. So going back to your question, I still remember it. No, I'll be sidetracking, but I'll come back. So I see my son, he's really young. I'm gonna kill Jabril with the jokes. I love it. This makes me feel so good. I'm like, you guys see, I'm funny for real.
Right.
No, you're good. Right. No, so going back, so like I said, like my son, he's really young. He's in 5 days, he'll be 16 months, right? And so it's a year and change for those that don't know math. Okay. So, but like, I my hope and my goal is to like, I really analyze him and I look at him and I want him to be what he wants to be. So I pray over him all the time. And I say, I want him to find his passion. Cause I wish I would have like known what I wanted to do. Like maybe earlier, I probably would have been further along in my like comedy career, that side, you know what I mean? But it's not a bad thing, but I want to like look up and pick up on traits. I'm like, okay, he seems very independent. He's always playing with, he doesn't like toys. He likes real stuff. He likes my laptop, my Surface laptop. He loves my cell phone. So I'm like, okay, he picks stuff apart. So I'm just like, okay, future engineer. I call him that right now. I'm like, okay, future engineer, I see you. Okay.
Right.
So I'm speaking that into his life. I'm speaking that into existence. And if he wants to explore any other things, I feel like that's good. But I feel like I'm going to expose him to as many things as possible and see what kind of sticks, right? like growing up, I played basketball. I ran track. I played. I'm not really good at instruments, but I like tried. I played the piano at one point. I played the guitar at one point. I played the trumpet and I played the clarinet. I was really
you can do the whole band.
Right, I know. I was everything but the orchestra, like the
right.
But I tried, you know what I mean? But track is my love. I love track. High jump, jump, 100, 200.
Awesome. All right, so I want to take some time out to kind of acknowledge some of our audience members in their comments. Jabril, you want to go ahead and take the YouTube comments and I'll do the Facebook?
Got you.
They should be right there under that comment. No, they're right there under the comment section. You see them on the yard?
Oh,
So I think it's Lorelai Lahiri. I hope I'm saying that right. Pardon me if I'm not, Lorelai. Says, I'm so dead. As someone that's known you for years, I can vouch for your amazing storytelling. I'm having a blast. Well, if you having a blast, I know you see us right now.
Yes.
I need rolling. I'm still on the obnoxious.
Right. That is crazy.
Obnoxious. Oh man.
All right, and now we got let's see who else we got here. We got Rashida Jones. This is my aunt. She said funny clip. So I think you're very funny. You know, I love watching you stand up. You know, you have a great way of blending what you do with your personal life, and it's phenomenal. So, and then we have Chase Ford. He said, yeah, because I'm confused on my Office 365. So maybe when we get your contact information, you can go ahead and hook them up. This is from this is from Kubila Muhammad. It's my mother, young, gifted, and Black. And she also said you can talk. And coming from my mom, that's a compliment. So
okay,
give it up for that.
Thank you,
all
Mama,
right, cool. Yes. All right, cool. But yeah, we actually okay, bro.
For me, with your routine, something I think is amazing. Like, you know how when you're talking, you're doing your routine, and you get that stuck smile like that, and it's like, even if they don't get the joke, the face in of itself makes them laugh.
The expressions that's what does it.
That's so cool, and it's so funny because it'd be like, and you nod and you smile, and it's just like, I didn't get it, but that face is hilarious. So I'm laughing at your face.
Right.
I think that's a thing that you can't necessarily teach. You just kind of watch and you pick that up. So I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what does it for me. Like I can't watch stand up if your facial expressions in, like if that physical comedy isn't there, it just doesn't do it for me. Like Kevin Hart makes great faces. Eddie Griffin, you know, Martin Lawrence. Oh my God, faces.
Right.
Physical. That dude is like, oh my God. I cannot go. I don't care if I watch the same Martin stand up back to back 4 times in a row. I will laugh every single time. Because he's that good at what he does, you know. So it's that physical comedy, that those expressions, that says it all. Like you can say the same thing someone else said, but if it's not coming out of you a certain way, it's just not funny.
No, that is so true. Like, and I it's funny because I just know this is my face because like I don't try, but you know they always say like I was always been a person that I used to get in trouble, especially when I was younger, because I couldn't fix my mom would be like fix your face. Because I was, you know what I mean? Because it's like I couldn't. My whole face will tell a story. I'd be like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." Nah, I'm not good. So my face will tell them what I'm feeling at all. Trust me.
Excellent. So Rashawn Rich, awesome program with awesome individuals. Looking forward to seeing more from our sister. She truly is 360.
Oh, thank you, Rashawn.
I like how that little part. She truly is 360. Okay, Rashawn.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
I like that.
Okay, come.
Question. You know, one thing that's important to me is giving back. And I think that a lot of times as quote unquote professionals in STEM, those who are established, you know, people feel like we might have it all together, know what we want to do in life, know what we want to move forward. And could you speak to, you know, goals you have for the near future, whether it be 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and how you're kind of working toward those goals, whether they be STEM related or not necessarily STEM related, but just applying a STEM mindset or an engineering mindset to those goals?
Yeah, I like that.
You know what's funny? Like I feel like I'm in the middle of my next goal setting. You know, like end of 2020. Like let's get over with this. This is the ghetto, right? We got 2021, okay? But I'm trying to really think. So like I guess right now what I want to do is I'm trying to figure out I guess my next role. I stay in my company, but I'm trying to figure out what the next role is, right? Because I feel like not that I'm stuck, but I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm on a temporary like a role assignment this year, but I'm just trying to figure out because I'm trying to align my natural skills with my role, because I feel like that's where I'm going to succeed the most. So like some and sometimes like again like I said, my ROTC officer who saw that in me beforehand, people have been coming up to me and they're like, you need to get some different roles that are like a lot more customers facing and a lot more like advocating for the customer, because you excel at that. So I've been just looking at the different types of roles at my job, my company that I can use my natural skills and I can be more comfortable there. So that's what I'm looking at to see like where the best fit is. That's why I even took this temporary job in order to stretch me. And it's a good thing. Like I'm doing something I've never done before, but I'm actually, and I'm always like scared. Like, I don't know how you are, but I'm very like, I'm analytical and I need to analyze and I need to think. So if I'm not 100% sure, I don't like to always jump in it, but I told myself I'm going to be uncomfortable. And I took this new assignment, and I honestly really feel like I've been doing this since July, and yesterday was like one of my really best days. Like I did a dance because I had 3 important meetings, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready, and I had to like present in front of like 100 people on a Teams call, and then like I was first, and I was like, oh man, I'm first. I didn't even know I was first, and then they were like, oh my gosh, Charmaine, I'm so impressed with your presentation, and people were like, your presentation skills are great, and I didn't even have all the answers, but I still was able to tell the story. That's like, you know what I mean? So going back to my natural skills are like, they were like, that was so great. And I spoke to the customer once and they were like, how'd you know all of this? Because like, so I'm trying to let you know like how I'm like, oh my God, maybe this is the role. Like I'll do this permanently. So I'm trying to figure out, because I want my natural skills to go with my job, because I feel like that's what I'm going to do the best. So that's what I'm doing on that side. And then professionally, or as a comedian, I feel like I really need to get myself out there more. I feel like my friends tell me like I'm a little bit lazy, and by that it's like I have my job, but I know like I love doing comedy, but I need to get out there more. I like the stage because I get to like just tell my jokes right on the spot. I get the immediate laughter. So like even you laughing, I'm like, yes, I told the joke. You laughed. It's good.
Right.
I feel like I'm gonna have to like expand and do some more like skits online, which
Yeah.
It's a little bit later because I'm just like, I don't know if you guys are gonna laugh until after I have to read the comments, But I do need to stretch myself and get a bigger digital footprint, because if I really want to make it, that's gonna be the way. So I told myself I'm gonna have some goals of releasing content and getting myself out there and being uncomfortable, but being like a good uncomfortable, because I know it's gonna pay off in the end.
Wow. Excellent.
Well, how many times,
bro?
As you're talking, sis, I feel like I'm going through the same things, like taking long to figure out or to take the plunge. Tariq tells me all the time, bro, you gotta make more content. Bro, you gotta find something that's yours. Bro, you gotta put yourself out there. And this is I'm an extrovert, but
me too.
I do get comfortable. And in the things I do well, the things that come natural, and when it comes to like that new or that next thing, I'm overthinking it. Well, what if it does this? What if it does that? When we have research and development clients, it's like, well, what if this happens? So like, we just gonna do it. But we can't, because A is plus B equals C minus the square root of impossible equals.
Oh my God, it drives me insane.
I'm making sense, but he like, Jabril, like it's not that deep. It's just not. And I'm like, but it is, because the square root of impossible plus 7 minus 12 equals, and then we won't have any money. And he like, but it's not that, but it doesn't make sense. I said, but it does. You know what I'm saying? So as we're talking, I'm telling you, bro, like you helped me so much with getting over certain impediments that I have. And it's just nice to see someone else who's doing an awesome job that you are, has inspired me to be better. But that's all I had. Tariq,
no, but I know. I tell you, I understand. I'm telling you, we're twins. Like we're literally twins.
Y'all engineers are something else. I tell you. But I love engineers. As a matter of fact, this platform, was built just for what Jabril is thankful for. Being able to see other scientists in similar arenas as yourself and being able to feed off their stories and feed off of the things that they've overcome. So every time that Jabril and I are talking about something, we're thinking about what's next, we have somebody on the show that's doing what we want to say. And they're doing what we want to do, and it gives us that inspiration. So thank you so much for being on the show tonight. We definitely plan to have you back on. We're actually approaching. I got your text, bro. Yes, it was. I appreciate that. But we're actually approaching the end of the show, and we have this thing called the STEM File Speed Round. So it's like a set of questions that we ask randomly to kind of get to know you more outside of what you do. So you ready for it?
All right.
All right, Jabril, you want to start it off?
Yep. All right. Heels or flats?
Oh gosh, flats.
I can imagine because you're on your feet all day, right? Like pretty much throughout the day. So you want to.
Yeah. Because I just feel like, honestly, so usually I feel like after I had the baby, like, because I was wearing heels up until I was like 7 months pregnant. And then after I was like, I stopped. And then I just can't get back to it. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm just like,
Got you. Okay. Hot or cold?
Oh, hot. I'm from Canada. I live in Texas. I ain't going back.
I got one.
I ain't going back.
I haven't followed everyone, but in terms of people that stand out, Eddie Murphy or Sinbad?
Oh, Sinbad.
Okay.
Sinbad.
My wife would like that answer.
I tweeted about him the other day, like last year. I was like, he is so underrated. I went to go watch his old stuff. Go look up to watch his stuff from like the early 90s. It's still relevant now, and he is hilarious. He's underrated. Sinbad all day.
Extremely. Totally agree. Awesome. Okay. Matter of fact, before we continue, I want to go ahead and do another shout out. We got Gospel Corion. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Corion. We love you, Auntie Charmaine.
That's my niece. Hey, Mimi. Hey, Candace. Hey, y'all.
All right, cool. So, walking or jogging?
Walking.
Gotcha.
I was a sprinter, so like I'll sprint and then I'll just stop, like, and walk. I'm not gonna jog.
Got you. Now, you work for Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
So this question may go either way. But because we're vibing right now, so I this will determine whether or not we continue, this relationship or this collaboration. Oh, there you go.
My mom, you on live, but the baby sleep. It's okay. Hey.
Okay.
This is my real life.
Awesome. All right, cool. So are you iPhone or Android?
Okay.
More than 65 sugar.
Okay, mommy.
That's the famous song, right?
She been obnoxious. Mommy, remember that obnoxious thing? I'm laughing. Okay, so I have an iPhone. Not because I want to, but I guess.
Okay, awesome. We good. So we good then. It's not because you want to. Okay, cool. We good.
No, because it was a birthday.
No, but it's not because you want to, so it doesn't matter. So
it was a birthday gift, and I had my phone broke, and this was my birthday gift, and I was like,
See,
What phone broke? What type of phone that broke?
I had a Samsung. What was it? The Samsung. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Oh, don't get started on the breaking stuff.
No, I dropped it. It was like the screen was cracked and stuff like that. Bro.
Yeah. She had to put it down with force.
I can't. Y'all, yeah. But Windows Phone, I'm just joking. It doesn't exist anymore. We got rid of it. So I used to have that.
Yeah. It was on it was weird. It was weird. All right, cool. So okay, so we kind of got both. You got us both on that. So I appreciate you having the Android. You had to smash it down to get it to break. So we good. All right, cool. Let's see. Worst job you've ever had?
The worst job I ever had. Ooh, I feel like I guess I used to work at this fast food restaurant called Harvey's. It's a Canadian restaurant. And I just I like, it's like there was like a grill, and I used to hate being on the grill because I just feel like it used to like mess up my like my skin and stuff like that. So I was like,
I remember I worked for Five Guys when I was in high school. And I'm telling you, like I came back home with a shirt full of nothing but grease. I used to hate that. But the plus to it was that I was working around food. So that was the only reason I actually liked going. But other than that. But
no,
all right, let's see. Say what?
Not the plus to it. No.
Yes, that was okay.
800 credit score or $4,000 a week for the rest of your life.
$4,000 a week for the rest of my life. Because first of all, that's almost my credit score. Don't play with me.
Okay.
Little rapid clap.
Yeah.
Rapid clap. All right.
I think we've only got like one person that said credit score, right?
I think so. Most people take the money from us.
Yeah, most people take the money.
And
I don't
get credit.
Yeah.
You don't get credit with that money issue.
Right. Matter of fact, brother, Ben X just did a podcast on credit, cash versus credit, right?
Jake was going in. Him and Jake was going in. They were.
Yeah. And I think it was in response to what's that comedian's name? Lil Duval, because he had made a video saying that he doesn't care about credit and all that. I got to go back and watch the video, but I got my own personal reasons. My own personal reasons for one over the other. I'm not going to say which one I prefer, but that's another time. We're going to move on from that. All right. So let's see. If you were stuck on an island for a year and you could only listen to 3 albums, what would they be?
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. That's my favorite album ever.
Nice.
Song is fire.
It's crazy that her only album is one of the most classic albums, and like that's insane.
Right. Like I can listen to that. I was literally listening to that the other day. I'm like, I will listen to this album all the time. I feel like I'm so old school. Like I like all the stuff I used to like back in the day, and I just didn't change because I would probably listen to like Tony Braxton's first album. That was my first cassette ever.
Wow, cassette.
Cassette.
That's the last time you heard that word, Jabril. Cassette.
Right. And I knew every song. I was all like 5 years old talking about 7 whole days without a word from you. Like, Charmaine, what are you talking about? So, and who else? Probably like Brandy. I don't even remember the first album like that has set up in my room. Like probably that. Like I'm like I love my old people. Like all right, so I'm like Lauryn Hill, Tony Braxton, and some Brandy.
Nice. That's a good time period. Classic albums. Jabril, you got one?
I'm about to get real stereotypical. Everybody, I apologize in advance.
Okay.
Cocoa butter or
okay. Ooh, that's hard. I was like, I feel like cocoa butter is like my first love. You know what I mean? That's the only one I knew when I was younger. So like, I'm like there, but I feel like more recently that shea butter be doing this. I'm gonna go with shea butter.
Cocoa is like your first love. Shea butter like that exotic. Like you just said, dang, like I didn't know the world was this big. Like hold on. Like,
thank you.
That's how you get that head to shine like that, huh?
Right. Y'all don't see that. I you know something? I literally had some. I had moved it because I was like, I don't want it to shine. Like I had some shea butter. Like it's in the bathroom. Like it was really on my desk yesterday.
Nah, I was wondering how you got that dome to be glowing like that, bro.
Oh, bro. Hey, hold on. Don't hate. Hair. You got hair.
Trust me, brother.
This jump shot. This helps with the turnaround fadeaway.
It helps with the.
That's
on physics. I'm just joking.
Oh my God.
Talk about it. Yeah, but he's not
Man.
He don't know nothing.
Oh, it's like that. Okay.
It's like that.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. If you could meet any scientist from the if you could meet any scientist from the past, who would it be and why?
Probably like Albert Einstein, because like I feel like he's like his hair, like he had a fro, he was natural, like I don't know.
Turn it off.
This day was natural. Oh my God.
Yo, did you use shea butter in your hair or cocoa butter? Because I see it. I
don't think he used much of anything.
Oh, E equals MC squared. Okay, I see it. I just feel like he's like a mad scientist in my head, like, you know what I mean? And I just feel like he's one of those people that was being his authentic self. So on some Einstein, I'm like, yeah, I need to meet you. I want to see what you're like. So I would.
Got you. Jabril. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead.
Nah, I feel that. In all seriousness, family, this has been a blast. We have reached, fortunately, the end of our program. Tariq Cardiac, Jabril Engineer. Charmaine, thank you so much for giving us life, for taking us some time out of your busy day, for telling us that you can merge humor, comedy with engineering, be a problem solver, be a critical thinker, and be someone who thrives in both of those realms. I've had a blast. God bless. We look forward to having you back on and be able to assist in any way we can on other endeavors as well. Again, family, like we said, we generally do this every Thursday and Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. I am Jabril Engineer, joined by Tariq Cardiac. Follow us on the STEM Files at Facebook, also Instagram, and make sure to subscribe at the STEM Files on YouTube. Like, comment, and share. And look forward to our next guest, who is, drum roll please, who is it, Tariq?
So we actually have our next guest is they're a couple, and they are in 3 different areas. They have 3 different businesses involved in STEM. So they're a STEM power couple. I feel bad because I'm forgetting their names, but Jabril, if you can kind of go into the schedule and see, their names should be there. But they're a power couple. They do amazing things in STEM. They have their own podcast as well. So definitely tune in this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, same place, not the same time, but 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and get to know them as well. So I was like Jabril mentioned, our show is every Thursday and Saturday, typically at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thank y'all so much for having me. And I just want to shout out to some of my friends. I'm seeing them in there. What up, Lorena? What up, Candace? What up, Keisha? Thank y'all for joining in. Thanks for having me. I had so much fun. I can't wait to do this again. Keep doing what you're doing. Let people know STEM is cool. And we are multifaceted people. So shout out, follow me, and I'll be back. I can't wait.
Absolutely. And how can we contact you? How can those who are watching reach out?
So Instagram and Twitter, it's Charmazing_1. So CHARMAZING_1. My email address is charmscomedy@gmail.com. You can find me on, I think, Facebook, Charmazing.1, YouTube, Charmazing, and so that's me.
Excellent. Well, once again, this has been the STEM Files, where we are the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. I am one of your hosts, Tariq Cardiac, Jabril Engineer. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you Saturday. Peace.
Take care. Bye.